जय श्री माता जी। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, ये आप ही की धरती, आप ही का ध्यान, आप ही का चैतन्य, कृपा करके आप सारे संतों की, सारे शुद्धात्मा को परम चैतन्य की वर्षा प्रदान करने हेतु सारे देव देवियों के साथ ये ध्यान और मेडिटेशन के मंच पर पधारिए और सभी संतों को, सभी शुद्धात्मा को, सभी देवदूतों को परम चैतन्य कीजिए, निर्विचारिता स्थिति प्रदान कीजिए। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, आपके श्री चरण कमल पर कोटि कोटि नमन। कुंडली उठा के बंधन लेंगे। तीनों महामंत्र। ओम तमेव साक्षात् श्री महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वती महाकाली त्रिगुणात्मिका कुंडली साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। ओम तमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। ओम तमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री सहस्रारसामिनी मोक्षप्रदायिनी माताजी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। गणेश मंत्र। ओम तमेव साक्षात् श्री गणेश साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। दोनों हाथ खुला हुआ परम पूज्य श्री माता जी को बिंदी को देखते रहेंगे। मन में अच्छे अच्छे चिंता, अच्छे अच्छे भाव लेके आएंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी कृपा करके हमारे हृदय को सच कीजिए। सच हृदय कमलासन पर श्री चरण को स्थापित कीजिए। माँ परम पूज्य श्री माता जी के श्री चरण की शीतलता हम हृदय पर अनुभव करेंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, हम अज्ञानी हैं। हमारी अज्ञानता के वश में यदि आपकी शान के खिलाफ कोई गलती हुआ हो, कृपा करके आप मुझे क्षमा कर दीजिए। माँ धीरे धीरे चित्त को तीनों मूलाधार पर परम पूज्य श्री माता जी हम कभी अतीत में चला जाते हैं, कभी भविष्य में चला जाते हैं। कृपा करके अतीत और भविष्य को भुला के हमें मध्य में स्थापित कीजिए माँ। हे आदिशक्ति माँ, हमें वर्तमान में स्थापित कीजिए, हमें आध्यात्मिक उत्थान दीजिए। संपूर्ण चित्त मूलाधार चक्र पर, लेफ्ट मूलाधार, राइट मूलाधार, मध्य मूलाधार। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, आप ही तो प्रभु गणेश है। कृपा करके हमारे अंदर अबोधिता और पवित्रता को रक्षा कीजिए। फिर तीनों स्वादिष्ठान को देखेंगे। लेफ्ट स्वादिष्ठान, राइट स्वादिष्ठान, मध्य, तीनों नाभि, तीनों हृदय, लेफ्ट हृदय। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, आप ही ने तो हमें शुद्ध आत्मा बनाया है। कृपा करके हमारी आत्मा को परमात्मा के साथ मिलाइए। लेफ्ट विशुद्धि। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, शुद्ध आत्मा संपूर्ण निर्दोष है माँ। श्री माता जी, मैंने कोई भूल नहीं किया माँ। श्री माता जी, हम संपूर्ण निर्दोष है माँ। फिर धीरे धीरे चित्त को फ्रंट आज्ञा। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, शुद्ध आत्मा संपूर्ण निर्दोष है माँ, क्षमाशील है माँ। कृपा करके यीशु ख्रिस्ट जी के रूप में हमारे आज्ञा चक्र पर आइए। धीरे धीरे चित्त को बैक आज्ञा पर गणेश अथर्वशीर्ष पाठ करेंगे। ओम नमस्ते गणपतये, तमेव प्रत्यक्षं तत्त्वमसि, तमेव केवलं कर्तासि, तमेव केवलं धर्तासि, तमेव केवलं हर्तासि, तमेव सर्वं खल्विदं ब्रह्मासि, तं साक्षादात्मसि नित्यं। हरितं वच्मि सत्यं वच्मि, अवतं माम् अववक्तारम्, अवसोतारम्, अवदातारम्, अवधातारम्, अवानुचानमवशिष्यम्, अवपश्चातात्, अवपुरस्तात्, अवोत्तरातात्, अवदक्षिणातात्, अवचोदातात्, अवधरातात्, सर्वतो मां पाहि पाहि समन्त्रात्। तं वाङ्मयस्तं चिन्मयो, तं आनन्दमयस्तं ब्रह्ममयो, स्तं सच्चिदानन्दादित्योऽसि, स्तं प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि, स्तं ज्ञानमयो विज्ञानमयोऽसि, सर्वं जगदं तत्तो जयते, सर्वं जगदं तत्तोत्तिष्ठति, सर्वं जगदं त्वयि लयमस्यति, सर्वं जगदं त्वयि पत्येति। तं भूमिरापो नालो नीलो नमः, स्तं चत्वारि वाक्पदानि, स्तं गुणत्रयातीतो, स्तं देहत्रयातीतो, स्तं कालत्रयातीतो, स्तं मूलाधारस्थितोऽसि नित्यं, स्तं शक्तित्रयात्मक, स्तं योगिनो ध्यायन्ति नित्यं, स्तं ब्रह्मास्तं विष्णुस्तं रुद्रस्तं इन्द्रस्तं अग्निस्तं वायुस्तं सूर्यस्तं चंद्रमास्तं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवस्सुरं ज्ञानादि पूर्वमुच्चाय वर्णादि तदनंतर अनुसारो परतरो अर्धेन्दु उलसितं तारेण ऋतं एतत्तव मनुष्यरूपं गकारो पूर्वरूपं अकारो मध्यम रूपं अनुसारो शांतिरूपं बिंदु उत्तर रूपं नादं संधानं संगीता संधि शैषा गणेश विद्या गणक ऋषि निश्चित गायत्री छंद गणपतिर्देवता ओं गं गणपतये नमः एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ति प्रचोदयात् एकदन्तं चतुर्हस्तं पाशमङ्कुशधारिणं रदं च वरदं हस्ते बिभ्राणं मूषकध्वजं रक्तं लम्बोदरं शूर्पकर्णकं रक्तवाससं रक्तगन्धानुलिप्ताङ्गं रक्तपुष्पे सुपूजितं भक्तानुकम्पिनं देवं जगत्तारणमच्युतम् आविर्भूतं च सृष्ट्यादौ प्रकृते पुरुषोत्तरम् एवं धारन्त्यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनो वर नमो बृहत्पतये नमो गणपतये नमो पमतपतये नमस्ते अस्तु लंबोदराय दन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवसुताय श्री वरदमूर्तये नमो नमः। साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देवे नमो नमः। संपूर्ण चित्त वैकाग्य पर रखेंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, मैंने सबको क्षमा किया, कृपा करके आप भी मुझे क्षमा कर दीजिए। महागणेश के मंत्र लेंगे। ओम तमेव साक्षात श्री महागणेश साक्षात श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। ऋतंभरी प्रज्ञा के मंत्र लेंगे। ओम तमेव साक्षात श्री ऋतंभरी प्रज्ञा साक्षात श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। धीरे धीरे चित्त को शास्त्रार्थ पर परम पूज्य श्री माता जी हमारे अंदर अहंकार प्रति अहंकार को दूर करके शास्त्रार्थ पर आइए। शास्त्रार्थ को खोल दीजिए माँ। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी हमारी शास्त्रार्थ पर विराजमान हुई। संपूर्ण ध्यान का स्थिति, निर्विचारिता का स्थिति, दोनों हाथों पर शास्त्रार्थ पे परम चैतन्य का अनुभव करते हुए निर्विचारिता का मंत्र लेंगे। ओम तमेव साक्षात श्री निर्विचारिता साक्षात श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। शास्त्रार्थ का मंत्र लेंगे। ओम तमेव साक्षात श्री कल्की साक्षात श्री शास्त्रार्थ मोक्ष प्रदायिनी माताजी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। संपूर्ण चित्त शास्त्रार्थ पर परम पूज्य श्री माता जी का अमृत बने हम शास्त्रार्थ से गान करेंगे।
वाला कोई चाहिए था, इसलिए हाँ मान, क्योंकि आपको डिकोडिंग अगर कोई बताएगा नहीं तो आप इस कंप्यूटर को कैसे इस्तेमाल। अब इस हाथ में यहाँ पर आपको पहले मूलाधार चक्र जो है नीचे में है, जिसकी की 4 पंखुड़ियां आपसे मैंने बताई थी। ये श्री गणेश का स्थान है। अब जो लोग रियलाइज है पूछे क्या मूलाधार पे श्री गणेश का स्थान है, या श्री गणेश से पूछे क्या आपका स्थान मूलाधार चक्र पे है। देखिए आपके भी ज्यादा आ गया है। आप इस सवाल को पूछे तो आपके तक ज्यादा आ जाएगा, सबके ही थोड़ा सा आ जाएगा, क्योंकि प्रश्न बहुत बड़ा है। आ रहा है? हाथ में कुछ ज्यादा आया वाइब्रेशन? पहले से ज्यादा हुआ वाइब्रेशन? पूछिए, सवाल तो पूछिए पर मेरे और हाथ करके पूछे। आ रहा है? इस जगह में कुछ हो रहा है? नहीं हो रहा है? होगा, अभी सेंसिटिविटी नहीं है, अभी अभी पार होना चाहिए। जब आप दूसरों पे हाथ रखेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा। अच्छा, आप जब दूसरों पे आप ऐसे हाथ करते हैं, चाहे छोटा बच्चा भी, तो आपको ऐसा लगेगा जैसे यहाँ जल रहा है या यहाँ जल रहा है। अब ये लेफ्ट है, राइट है, ये इमोशनल साइड है और ये फिजिकल साइड है। आप ऐसे ही रखिए, फिजिकल साइड या मेंटल साइड। अब ये इमोशनल साइड है। अगर आपके यहाँ जलन आ रही है, माने ये है कि इस आदमी के सेक्स पर कोई ऐसा आघात किसी ने किया है, खासकर जितने भी कुंडलिनी के जागरूक करने वाले लोग होते हैं यहाँ पर, क्योंकि वो सब्लिमेशन ऑफ द सेक्स वगैरह करके बहुत गड़बड़ करते हैं लेफ्ट हैंड साइड। सो पकड़ यहाँ जलन सी आती है। अगर यहाँ जलन आए तो ये समझना चाहिए, अगर हमारे फोटो की तरफ करके हो तो ये समझना चाहिए कि आपके अंदर कोई तो भी यहाँ दोष आ गया, मूलाधार से। राइट साइड में आ जाए तो हो सकता है कि आपके सेक्स में कोई दोष है। अगर ये नम हो जाए तो इम्पोर्टेंसी की साइन है। अगर किसी में नमनेस आ जाए तो आप समझ लीजिए कि वो आदमी इम्पोर्टेंट है। और अगर इसमें कुछ जरा से ऊपर में आ जाए तो ये सोचना चाहिए कि इस आदमी को बहुत कॉन्स्टिपेशन रहता है। कॉन्स्टिपेटेड जो आदमी बहुत रहता है, फिस्चुला आदि की बीमारी में बर्निंग आता है। करते करते आपके हाथ इतने सेंसिटिव हो जाते हैं कि ऐसे आप हाथ करते ही एकदम कह सकते हैं। और जो लोग बॉर्न रियलाइज होते हैं वो तो बगैर देखे ही, मतलब ऐसा किए बगैर ही बता देंगे कि इनके ऐसी जगह तकलीफ है। ये एक जनरल तरीके से मैं बता रही हूँ, सारा बारीक बारीक तो मैं जब किताब लिखूंगी उसमें बारीक बारीक लिखूंगी, लेकिन आप खुद ही समझ लेंगे बात। अब ये उंगलियां दो अंगूठे का, इन अंगूठे में दूसरा जो स्वादिष्टान चक्र है वो है। उल्टा फिरून राहिले का गोष्ट, सरळ हात फिरवा। ये स्वादिष्टान चक्र जो है ये, अब इस चक्र से राइट हैंड साइड में एज आई टोल्ड यू क्रिएटिविटी होती है, क्रिएटिव है। स्वादिष्टान चक्र पे श्री ब्रह्मदेव का स्थान, और श्री ब्रह्मदेव का स्थान है उनकी शक्ति सरस्वती जी। अगर कोई आदमी बहुत जरूरत से ज्यादा सोचता है, प्लानिंग करता है, विचार करता है, तो इनकी शक्ति इस्तेमाल करता है। और इसी उंगली से, इसी अंगूठे की जो अंदर में जो चक्र है स्वादिष्टान चक्र, वहां जो दिखाई दे रहा है, इसी से आप देख रहे हैं कि चारों तरफ वो घूमता है। इससे दूसरा जो कार्य होता है कि इसके किनारे पे जितनी भी चीजें हैं उतने सारे जो ऑर्गन्स हैं उनको ये सप्लाई करता है। यानी कि आपकी किडनी, आपके ऊपर हिस्से का लिवर, आपका स्प्लीन और यूट्रस, और इतनी सब चीजों को ये संभालता है। तो अगर इस चक्र में आपके अगर बहुत जोरों की पकड़ आ जाए तो समझ लेना चाहिए कि आपके कोई न कोई, या तो आपको डायबिटीज की बीमारी हो सकती है एक जनरल तरीके से, और या तो कोई स्त्री हो तो उसको यूट्रस की तकलीफ हो सकती है। जब ये दोनों ही पकड़ने लग जाते हैं और बहुत जोरों से जब जलना शुरू हो तो कैंसर का सेटिंग इन हो जाता है, ये समझ लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि इससे गैलपिंग हो जाता है। और अगर इससे हो जाते सोचना चाहिए कि कोई न कोई बाधा, कोई न कोई बाहर की एंटिटी इन पे काम करे, और जो कि यूट्रस में बैठी हुई। अब जैसे आप लोगों को विश्वास होने जैसी बात नहीं है, जैसे यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस ना, ऐसे है जैसे समझ लीजिए कि if there is a lady and her, you see her, the first wife has died, suppose, take a question, and and she has had no children or something like, she died as an atruptatma and the husband marries another woman, and the first lady died in a mess or an atrupta way, and she never had a child, so her entity might enter into this woman's entity and she may come into that way. You see, this is a emotional side. So emotionally, if she is disturbed about it, if she thinks about it, that she had no child, I may not have a child, if she has a fear like that or something, it will act on the uterus and she will also not have child. That's the emotional side of it. On the right hand side, if you have a uterus trouble and uterus problem or anything like that, then also you can. But when these two meet together, a galloping sort of a movement starts of both the sympathetic nervous system, and then you can say that it is a cancer has been set. But cancer is set into us every moment and is destroyed every moment by parasympathetic. Because if the activity of the sympathetic nervous system is the cause of cancer, means everybody has it, you see, in possibilities, and the more, if you do it overactivity, more than what is needed, it's set. A man who is a great planner, he's a very great planner and he's a very great thing, and he gets sort of all his time devoted to work and work and work. He develops a deficiency in the spleen because this also supplies to the spleen, and that's how spleen and your liver and kidney all put together give you the disease known as diabetes. Diabetes is only caused among people who think too much. Diabetes will not happen among the people who are poor because they don't sit down and think and bother about it. So diabetes is caused among such people. Mostly it is caused among men, less among women. Doctors do not know the cause of diabetes. Now if I tell them Swadhisthana Chakra and Brahmadeva's activities, they will say, Mataji, this is beyond us. But if I tell them imbalance, if there is imbalance in life, then it is caused. It is due to the imbalance in life, because such a man, you see, when he starts planning too much, thinking too much, he has no time for emotional activity. Like, you see, he has no time for his children, he has no time for his wife, he has no time for anybody to, you see, express himself. If he can have the balance between the two, if he is a very loving man, then the balance is maintained. But mostly what happens, a man who takes through hard work, he has no time for his children. Then if he gets a little time for his children, children think, oh, it's a great thing. And such a personality has diabetes. And the diabetes has such a vicious circle that it goes on increasing and increasing and increasing. Then it increases up to the, you see, it can go up to the eyes. You may start getting very weak eyes with diabetes. And I mean, anything can happen because you start, the sugar in the blood is not consumed. So for such a person who suffers from diabetes, there's a very simple method. If he is a realized soul, if he is a realized soul, that's one if is there. If he is not, then nothing can work out. All these things are for realized people. You have to put now as you say that your right side is weak. Your right side is being used too much. Your left side is weak. So what you have to do is to put the left hand towards the photograph, raise your left hand and put it to the right hand. Like this. Now what happens, when the left side is weak, you see there on top of the head, there are two balloon-like structures. One of them goes onto the front and another goes at the back. But one comes from the right, another comes from the left. Now the one which comes on the left, because it crosses over. So the left one is responsible for the right, and the right one is responsible for the left hand. So by doing like this, what you do is to press your ego back. And that's how you get a complete balance there, and the Kundalini rises in between. Because one side is too much pressed and the another side is suppressed. You raise your left hand side like this, alright? Or raising it like this. Left hand side, left hand, yes, ठीक है. Left with the right hand you will have to raise. आप उल्टा जा रहे हैं. Left hand हमारे ऊपर, left hand ऊपर करें. जिसको डायबिटीज ऐसे इधर से उठा और ऐसा करें और इधर लाएं. अब फिर से उठा. Now what are you pushing back here? By pushing this thing on this side. You are pushing it this way. Now left side you are raising the superego, and right side you are pushing the ego. Because such a man develops ego also. Because he works through his ego. We plan through our ego. Ego doesn't mean egoistical. Ego everyone has. If you do not have ego, you are a realized soul. But you have ego and superego, both are there. They are there. They exist. So what happens? Too much of ego develops because of planning, because we do all this planning and everything through ego. So the ego is pushed back and you get the balance. And this is what the doctors do not think of balancing a person, because we are not only physical being, we are emotional being, we are also intellectual being, we are also a spiritual being. So there should be a balance between all these beings and they should be all integrated. But doctors do not think like that. So the imbalance works like that. And that's how you get into problem.
ego is also a disease.
What?
Super ego is also a disease.
You see, ego or superego, both in imbalance, is not a good state for Kundalini rising. If the ego is too much developed, for example, it is pressing your superego. Now the superego is suppressed. For example, all the developing countries, all the developed countries have a big ego. So too much ego, they press the superego. Because of pressing of the superego, what happened? That their ego developed too much, the superego gave them a bump. Because if you press too much, it has a reaction. So in their society, people just became sort of what you call the hippies. They gave up. They said this planning when finished off. We are going to lead another kind of life. So they took to superego. And superego is all these drugs and these serious things to get towards this suppression of yourself. You see, first these people were violent outside, but then they became violent to themselves. So both things are wrong. Whether you are violent to yourself or violent to others.
Does not apply to one's body, it only applies to one's mind.
Yes, yes.
Unbalanced.
The ego and superego are both things are two forces within us which is balanced. If balanced, then only the Kundalini can rise. Otherwise, there should be a gap between the two. Actually, it creates a gap. But if one side is overdeveloped, any one of them, a person who is possessed has a superego, mostly. But a person can be also possessed by a egoistical mood. For example, these transcendental people, all of them have their ego side developed too much. You cannot push them back. Because there is, you see, anything can bloat. Somebody egoistical man can enter into you see, and you can have a superego on you. Sort of you can start thinking that you are a very great dynamic man, you think no end of yourself. And actually it is somebody else who is putting ideas into your head and you are a bloated person. लोग कहते हैं ना दिमाग खराब है इनका साथ माफ करिए वो कहते हैं कि इनका तो दिमाग ही खराब है इनसे तो भगवान बचा रहा है कहते हैं कि नहीं वही बात तो उसी तरह से हो जाता है कि लोगों का दिमाग खराब हो जाता है You spoil your head because you get into that over ego, double ego. Somebody else is acting in. Sometimes you yourself can develop your ego too much. But sometimes somebody else comes into you and tells you. And he talks as if you won't believe. He talks like a Hitler. You think that what's this come up?
That means, madam, he can possess your ego.
He possesses your ego, enters into your ego and supplies information through your ego. It can mostly it enters through your superego, mostly because most of them are depraved people. So these depraved people also can enter into your left-hand side and they can also give you ideas. And you can become, you see, they do not really give you ideas, but they make your life miserable. Such people, when they enter into it, you become giddy, you feel terrible, you get a headache, or sometimes if you start acting according to them, then you can become a very depraved man also. Actually, the ego, people cannot see. You see, a man can never see the ego. It's rather difficult. And they think that, oh, I'm correct after all, I'm such and such, so whatever I'm doing is correct. You see, it's very difficult to see your ego because human beings can see their superego very easily as it harms them physically also. If you have got a possession on you, you are harmed. But if there is an ego, you are not harmed. By ego, you harm others. So you are not harmed. But by superego, you are harmed. So you can see that. But ego harms others and you go on harming others, you don't know what you are doing. And you think, oh, I'm very correct, whatever I'm doing is correct. So these are the two types of balloons which covers your head. In between them is the space, which we call the Vilamba. That space is created through the Kundalini rising. But actually when the Kundalini rises, first what she does, she comes up to the Agya, below the Agya on this plate which we call as Murdha. Plate, the lower plate of the brain, it touches it, you see, and then it comes down again on these two channels of Ida and Pingla, which cools it down. And by cooling it down, it fills it up, and the cooling brings down both the ego and super ego a little bit, and the space is created. And then when the Kundalini really rises upward, then it passes through that space. Actually, you can see here with some people who get realization, a big depression. Sometimes people have depression here. If they have a badha in their Nabi, they get a depression here, or sometimes they get a depression here. A regular depression you can get here if you feel it. Even those who are realized can feel it. It is a soft thing. If you can press it, it can work out. You will feel it. You put your right hand towards it, you can feel it. There's a little depression, you can press it down, you feel better. You feel better with that. Pressing a little bit makes you better, feel much better. लेफ्ट हैंड रखिएगा, राइट हैंड हमारे ओर करके लेफ्ट रखिएगा, हाँ इधर दबाइए ऐसे. Now the situation in all the developing countries is that their ego is overdeveloped now when they are trying to develop themselves, because they are developing, all the developing countries are doing it through their ego, so naturally their ego is very much developed. That's why I'm saying that put your right hand. But in the countries which are really overdeveloped now, who are fed up of their ego and fed up, they call themselves as colossal egoistical people, and they condemn themselves for that. All the time what they are doing is to condemn themselves. This is a super ego act. To condemn themselves, they'll go out of the way to do all kinds of hazardous things. If you tell them you stand on your heads, they will stand on their heads. They will do everything that you tell them, and they will try to sort of give trouble to their body. They'll say, what's the use of having a nice house? Let us sleep on the ground. And they'll do all these things just to torture themselves, because their super ego starts acting on the ego. And by which, you see, they again go to the other extreme. What you have to do is to be imbalanced. Now, let me talk. Keep your questions in the end, you should say. Are you sitting in front for that? Now, you don't disturb everyone, please, for heaven's sake. No, it is a disturbance because my thoughts are going, and you just now keep quiet, because I'm reading everybody's mind and answering. Alright, just keep quiet, because everybody is disturbed. So, now what happens that the thought, of thoughts of a superego is just to make the ego look down. So it pushes down and it suggests such ideas like we should sacrifice everything. Why should we have a household? Why should we have children? Why should we have all these junky, affluent things? Let us lead a life of a ascetic. But in their asceticism, they take to drugs, because it is a superego style. Drug is a superego style. If you take to drinks, if you take to these things too much, then you are going to the superego style. Ego style would be not to take to drinks. Asceticism is to kill yourself, comes from the left hand side, in the sense that the superego tells you that you just give up things. But actually it is not, because the main thing is that they do it, they do all these things, but actually in the heart of hearts, or what you can say the mind of mind, what they want to do is to indulge into a very superego activity, and the superego activity is drinks, drugs and sex. These three. Actually this is the main thing, but they think they have given, you see, they believe in it. They believe in it. Not that they are in any way, they are genuinely believing in it. They believe that by doing sex, overactivity of the sex, by taking drugs, and by being sort of very licentious and by permissive, they have been trying to go to God. Actually they believe in it. I tell you, you don't know, because it is their faith. They think that these people have been keeping to these rules and regulations. It has come as a reaction, you see. See, in England they had those tailcoats, and you could have 5 types of glasses on the table, and you have to use this for the whiskey, that for the thing, and this for that, and so much of regimentation that when they wanted to give it up, they said, now let us give it up completely. So when they gave it up as a reaction, it worked so well that they have given up, they think they have given up everything, but they have given up all that was good, all that was nice, and whatever was bad, they have taken it up, even in a worse way. Means licentiousness, permissiveness, drinking, drugs, and sex. So this is how this thing works out. Now the right hand side, the egoistical man. He may be a man who might be absolutely puritanical. He can be puritanical also. You might find many like this. For example, we can see in our scriptures, we have people like Harishchandra, the one who was torturing Harishchandra. क्या नाम उनका? Vishwamitra. Then we have got many others, so many of them, like hot-tempered people, very hot-tempered. You cannot touch them. But you see, because they had no wife, no children, nothing, no balancing, They lived, you see, with eating what you call these grass or some leaves and things, and celibacy, forced celibacy, all sorts of, frantic things they did. Naturally, such people have to be hot-tempered. They were heated up by these forced things. I mean, going to another extreme of things, you see, to whatever was natural, God has given you all these natural things. Live in a sanctified, natural way. But either you will have 10 women or you will have no woman. Some sort of an extreme behavior from one to another, going to one extreme to another. And when they went to another extreme, the ego, you see, they're so egoistical. You have read about these people, but you must have met many people, even in the government office. You might see that. You see, you cannot just look at them. If you even look at them, they'll just punch at you. Thinking that you have insulted them by raising your eyes to them, sort of people. You will find some of them around. So this type of temperament develops because of extreme activity of the ego. That you cannot talk to them. If you say anything, they say, "Oh, I will see him. I will put him right. I will do this." If you say anything, they will give you 2 slaps on the face and finish. So it's better not to talk to such people. Now we'll take an example of Hitler. Now see, Hitler's personal life, you see, he was an ascetic. He married one woman, lived with one woman, and that too secretly, and he thought that sex life was a bad thing. And there's no question of Himmler or anybody having any sex life whatsoever. But they are very good at killing people the way they killed it. So that is so bad, as this is so bad. Both things are equally bad. Some people say that, you see, we have seen some people who say that we do not drink, we do not do all these things, and they are very bad people. So I said, but that is bad, it's bad. Whether they drink or not, but drinking is also bad. That doesn't mean that drinking is good. They are not good because they are drinking. They are not drinking. It is because drinking on one side and the another is the whole thing is I give up this, I give up that, and I become this. You see, for example, government servants say, "Oh, I am sacrificing my life for this country." All these nonsensical ideas fill up your ego only. What are you sacrificing? What are you doing? You are getting a pay for what you are doing. You see, these kind of ideas, you see, we are doing this for the government, this for people, and some social workers are like that. They think that we are doing this social activity, we are trying to help the blind, we are trying to help this organization. See, all these things crop up to make you a very egoistical man. So whom are you helping? Who is the other? There is nobody else. That's only a part and parcel of your being. All these ideas come to you from a very false conception of yourself. You see, if I am doing any just now, he said that you cure people, you don't take any money. I jolly well have to, because I feel sick if you are sick. What can I do? I am not taking money because it helps me. It's no question of my trying to be very good or anything. Nothing can. Because it cannot help. If you are sick, I have to cure you. If I do not cure you, I will feel sick. It is so much. It is so much of lena dena that I cannot live without giving it to you. If I do not give it to you, I will fall sick. It is like that. Who is the other? When we think of helping others, doing others, so these two things come up. One is the ego, another is the superego. It can come in anything. Ego is such a subtle thing that people don't see. It works. You cannot see it. It just works just like that. People accept it because it helps them. People say, "Oh, what a dynamic man. He's done this, he's done that." If you see that man, he's fuming like that. He has not enjoyed life at all if you go and meet that person. But you think, "What a successful man, he's done this." And the ego is bloated again. Then again, ego is bloated. And ultimately he finds nobody stands near him. They'll say that he's such a big bore. You will go near him? You cannot stand him for 5 minutes. All the time he's talking about himself, or he's talking about his business, about his work. It's all right in the office. But in the house, nobody would like to go near. They all run away. As if they are facing a tiger. So this is what it is. A man has to be a sweet person. He has to be a very balanced person, a very interesting person, and a very, very harmonious in temperament. On the contrary, such a man is maybe, I don't know if such people help anyone, but they are quite awkward to be with. See? There's something wrong with them, and children don't like them, dogs don't like them. There are many human beings who don't.
माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति, माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति, माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति, माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति, सब जगत की तू महालक्ष्मी, 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 माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति, माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति। माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति। क्षमा का सागर हमें बनाओ, क्षमा का सागर हमें बनाओ, क्षमा का सागर, क्षमा का सागर हमें बनाओ, यही आज्ञा आशीष दिलाओ, यही आज्ञा आशीष दिलाओ। ग ग रे ग सा रे ग, सा रे रे ग ग प प रे ग सा रे ध सा, प ध सा रे ग ग रे ग ग रे सा ध सा। माँ भवानी आदिशक्ति। माँ भवानी, माँ भवानी, माँ भवानी आदि शक्ति। त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री जीसस मेरी माता, साक्षात श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी, श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः।
इस ध्यान का स्थिति, निर्विचारिता का स्थिति, दोनों हाथों पर सहस्त्रार पे परम पूज्य श्री माता जी को परम चैतन्य अनुभव करते हुए थोड़ी देर ध्यान में रहेंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, आपने जो हम परम चैतन्य अनुभव कराया, इसके लिए मैं आपको कोटि कोटि नमन। कुंडली उठा के बंधन लेंगे।